Well, the future of EVE Online is about to be written by you. Yes, you. Each of us can contribute to the new Drifter Crisis event that's happening right now inside of New Eden. And by the end of this episode, you're going to be able to conquer each site with style and make some good ISK while doing it. So if you want the best EVE guides, you came to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, Loru here, digital advertiser, content creator, and EVE enjoyer for the better part of 10 years now. And these sites are super fun. There's been a little bit of changes since they launched about a month ago. Let's go over those and show you some fits. By the end of this video, you'll be able to take this out and get your plug suit. Yes, we've got a big event going on in the agency tab. You can come down there and go to encounters, then go to race for the Hive. You'll have to declare yourself from there, choose your favorite faction. Now, I myself am going to be joining the Triglavinan collective. If you don't see this option, you can scroll your mouse wheel up and down to see the various options. Each one of these options is going to give you the same exact reward track. The difference is the top 5 factions are going to be getting, quote, unfettered access to drifter wormholes. Now, we don't really know what this means, but this is all sounding and feeling very similar to when the Triglavians actually invaded Hive. And as a Pochfin liver myself, I'm going to help them fight back against the drifters. I've been fighting the drifters longer than you've been a Capsuleers, some of you. Okay, join the Triglavs, come help us out. We actually have a special Discord for Triglavian people. If you want to come down, the link will be in the description for you. We're talking fits, tricks, fleet ups. We got stuff going all day, so come on down to help us out. And I mentioned a plug suit because once you declare yourself in the agency, the very end of this reward track is going to be this drifter plug suit. Now, this is actually a special cosmetic that lets you dress and look like a robot drifter. Fantastic. But these cosmetics are probably going to go for a pretty penny when the Triglavians invaded Hive. As the game progressed, the items went out of style. You're not able to get them anymore, and they literally go for billions of ISK now. So this is not something you should dismiss out of hand. So go choose your favorite side. Triglavians, okay, thanks. Help us fight back, and you can get your very own sexy robot suit. Thanks very much. Once you declare yourself inside of the agency, you're going to want to find the sites. You can do this by going back to your left-hand bar of the Neocom, going to the Opportunities tab. This is also Alt-J on your keyboard, and going down to the Interstellar Events. Each one of these interstellar events is going to be where the Drifter Crisis is happening. I recommend you navigate to the closest one and call it a day. Be careful though, because some of these are in low sec. There will be people that are able to PvP you. You can PvP them back, of course. There are a bunch of different kinds of sites that spawn in these. We'll get to those in just a sec. Each system is going to have a percentage of influence. This is how many people have finished these various sites in that solar system. The more people finishing things in that system, this ticker will go up, with it culminating in this check mark at 100%. The boss room spawns. This is the Vigilant Dreamer site. We'll cover that at the end of the video. It's something you should definitely do once, but it's not necessarily for you if you're trying to farm these sites for a bunch of points. We'll get there, don't worry about it. Now, before you navigate out to these places, you gotta understand, these are niche sites very similar to Homefront operations. They're gonna need specific ships, specific fits. Let's talk about it. In every single one of these drifter areas, there's going to be a global debuff. It reduces your shield and drone effectiveness. So with that said, I don't really think you should be flying any kind of shield tanked things. You can bring drone ships. With that said, you're going to see some of our fits feature drones. You're just going to need more people if you have a bunch of drone fits out. There is a bonus to warp speed, so you can get around the sites easier. And speaking of warping around, once you're into the area, you're going to open up your probe scanner right here. Now, this is Alt-P on your keyboard. You can also press this guy down here and then click probe scanner. There it is, easy peasy. All of these are coming up as cosmic signatures with the various names corresponding to the exact activity you're going to get to do. Let's start from what I consider the easiest and go from there. Now, the first site you're going to have is a salvage site. You're going to need a salvage focused ship that can also get into some combat. Drifter NPCs will be spawning and messing with you. Now, they did change the site from when it launched a couple weeks ago. It used to be you had to salvage 18 wrecks to finish off the site. Now you have to salvage 30 wrecks, but the salvaging of the wrecks is much easier, letting us put some much needed capacitor into our ships. We'll show you the fit in just a sec. What I recommend you do is you take out something like this Algos. All of these fits are not mine. I do not take credit for any of these. We're going to have a bunch of links in the description for you for the various help that we're having, whether it be the forums or the Discord that all the Triglavian people are working together on. So thank you to everybody that's been helping us with these fits. This really is a community effort. All right, so we warp onto all of these sites, and you're going to see that there's an acceleration gate. If you're in low sec, just be careful. People will try to fight you on these gates. So let's activate this and get on in, shall we? As you can see, you warp in and there's a bunch of these guys around. Let's just go for the closest one and get to getting. While you're salvaging this, I recommend you start navigating to the next one without your prop mod on, depending on how close it is. You can see that right there it's finished, and then here we are getting going. All right, once these guys are in range, you are going to launch some drones and start throwing out some DPS onto these. The drifters do take a little bit to kill, and this is one of the reasons why you want to kind of do this with friends. The drifters will also start targeting your drones. You want to watch for the yellow boxes right here, so that when they are targeting your drones, you can start pulling them back. I recommend maybe only fighting the drones when they're super close to you. All right, the drones are within range of us, so we're going to start throwing out some DPS stuff here. We'll start approaching this other one. Excellent. We got that one salvaged. Now there is some newt pressure added to these guys, so you have to be careful. If you start taking a bunch of damage, it's recommended that you warp off, come back, something like that. Like I said, these are no joke. It's best to do with friends. I recommend 2 or 3 you take these ships out. That way you can avoid dying for content like I did. 2 or 3 you throwing drones out should be able to kill the various things and be able to salvage all the ships. Another strategy that we're seeing working is if one of you has aggro, they just go in a direction, they just keep going with their micro warp drive on and pull the drifters away while your other friends are salvaging the sites. So use this fit, head on into the salvage sites with your buddies and get to salvaging, y'all. Let's get it done, get you some points, okay? All right, the next site is going to be the Drifter Lancer Counter Offensive. And this one, they've actually changed a bunch since the last time that we did this. So much so that I actually cannot recommend you an exact fit as of this video. I'm going to put a base fit in the description for you, so that way you have a starting point, you can get out there with your buddies and get to it. We're going to be testing a bunch of fits live on stream tonight to be able to do this with a group. If you want to check that out, come on back. We put this video out on the day that we're streaming. We want to see you in. We want to get you some good points, some good is. Come on down. With that said, how you do the Lancer Counter Offensive site is you're going to remote cap boost the NPC Lancer Dread that's on grid. Once it reaches a certain point, it's going to blast. You're going to do that a couple times. Once it's full, the site completes. There are a bunch of Drifter NPCs on grid, so you're going to have to cap chain each other and rep up each other as needed. One of the biggest differences, as you just saw in the salvage room, is that the newt pressure is very high. We have added a battery on here to try to combat that. More testing is needed. We'll see more of this tonight. And I'll do you one better. As we get bigger, better fits for the Lancer Counter Offensive site, we're going to post them in the description for you. All our fits are going to be in the description for you. 2 clicks, it's totally free. We're going to make sure that as these change and updates, I'll keep those updated as well. So that way, if you're watching this video in a couple days, you have more confidence that these fits are better and will get the job done. Algo's fit will be fine. You can do that as is. Augur fit, I'm not really sure about. Come back to stream tonight and we'll see what we can cook, huh? The next site is a Deathless Research Outpost, and I gotta tell you, this one I would just straight up avoid. You have to actually heal up a tower that the Deathless have set up while waves of drifters come on, and you have to wait there for 10 minutes. Here's why I wouldn't do this one. If you do it right, the Lancer Counter Offensive site can be a literal grind. You can get there, finish it next. Get there, finish it next. The Deathless Research Outpost should be done literally last, because you have to actually sit there for 10 minutes and just chill. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't worry about it. Keep it going. If you really want to do the Deathless Research Outpost, I recommend you do some kind of similar auger fit that we've been doing. You are going to need to have buddies bring some DPS to be able to combat the various drifters that are on grid as well. If it sounds similar to the Lancer Counteroffensive, it's because it is. I think the devs designed it this way, so if you can do the Lancer Counteroffensive, you can probably do the Deathless Research Outpost site. Now, the fourth one you can't actually see because we have to scan it down. Yes, it's a hacking and combat site, but it's not something I recommend you bring an actual hacking ship to. You actually need to be able to tank. There's a lot of like invisible mines and tripwires and stuff that will start doing damage to you. It's very similar to the sleeper caches. What you can do is you can fit a mauler, something similar like this. The basics for this fit are the boosters. You're going to want to out heal this and spend a little bit of money just to make sure that you don't die. Double rep, it does a lot of damage. Bring some membranes. You want to try to tank whatever's hitting you. Obviously, you need a single relic analyzer. You don't really need anything else in the highs. Just get you the nice scanner thing and keep it going. Now, we do have a metamorphosis fit for you as well. Shout out to our friend called Titus inside the Triglavinan Discord. Thanks for the fit. He has taken this out successfully and tanked the various things while spending much less ISK, only 55 million. Like I said, y'all, there's been some extensive testing gone into these. These are not necessarily peasy and will push your ships to the limit. Both fits will be in the description, takes 2 clicks, totally free. And with this site especially, don't be afraid to warp out and repair and come back until you learn the various placements. You can kind of learn where the traps are, but sometimes I feel like they change. Just be careful, make sure you use those stations and repair your ship as needed. Now, there is one more site. We told you we would talk about it. It's the Vigilant Dreamer site. Like we said, they only pop up when your site is at 100% influence. That's this check mark here. You will see them on the probe window. Here it is. Now, the salvaging site, you can bring in destroyers and below. The rest of the other sites are cruisers and below, but the Vigilant Dreamer site is battle cruisers and below. You're going to need some friends for this. This is not for the faint of heart. We have 8+ people being reported. What you need to go take this thing out. First, you have to bring some hackers to hack down the towers, which will unlock the actual boss tower you have to kill while waves of drifters are coming in. You can use some of the other fits that we've talked about in this video, but you really are going to need some battle cruisers to get some big DPS going, maybe an Oracle or a Talos, something like that. I'm going to be adding fits to the description link like we've been talking about as those fits continue to go forward. We might even be testing some of these on stream tonight. Now that you have a general overview of all the various things, what should you do with all this? I think everybody should be going for this Drifter plug suit. You got to get as many points as possible, and the best way to do it is either the Salvage site, that's the research outpost, the Lancer counteroffensive once we figure out the proper fits for it and all that, and finally the hacking site. Do those 3 and just keep doing them. You might not even need to leave your solar system. You can just stay there and continue grinding stuff out. Keep getting your points, fight for the Triglavinan collective. Now, this is clearly going to intro the new expansion that's coming out, and I think we might even be getting some Drifter ships. So if you want the best EVE news, make sure you bookmark this playlist. We're going to update this. This is coming out on the day it was released. We're going to keep trying to do that. And sub right here if you want the best EVE guides. Thanks very much, y'all. We'll see you in the next video.